What is misleading pricing? Well, after today's episode, you'll become more conscious of it, and it's possible you've been enduring this for a very long time. Now, you'll know who to report to and why it led to the shutdown of one of Abuja's most popular stores. That store has since been reopened, and we find out why from my guest today. Also, what does the FCCPC do? And how can we use them to get justice as consumers when we're treated unfairly? Stay tuned for this and so much more on this edition of Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. Let's begin by updating you on the major stories from the nation's seat of power. It's time for our Abuja Wrap.
Former head of state, retired General Yakubu Gowon, has asked Nigerians to give President Bola Tinubu time, saying he believes the administration is doing its best to address the various problems facing the country. He was speaking at the State House after meeting with President Tinubu in what he said is their very first meeting since the president's inauguration.
Being the surviving leader or founding fathers of the ECOWAS, I think we had to discuss some of his plan in order to see what can be done to bring the matter under control. So this is what has brought me here, and we had a very interesting meeting. The government is trying their best to deal with the various problems of the country, but with Nigerians, don't you worry, you can get criticized. I think people out there, they know better than what you know there. But I think all that one can say is that we've got to Nigerians have to give the president time to get things really done, and it is too early to sort of say yes, that absolute result, perfect result would be achieved now. So that is my opinion. At least I know. I think if I remembered, I was told that I was fighting the war, I was too slow, and probably Nigeria cannot make it, and that we should not seek for discussion, well, did we do it or not? They probably do not know the problem in there on the ground.
President Bola Tinubu has directed the immediate settlement of outstanding electricity bills due to the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said in a statement that the president's directive follows the reconciliation of accounts between the State House management and the AEDC. The National Economic Council is urging concerted efforts to ensure that local commodities are not dollarized in the face of the rising costs of food and other commodities. The council, during its meeting held virtually and chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, also directed for the review of the National Food Security Strategy to, among other things, focus on price stabilization.
The main feedstock to making urea is gas, and which is a local commodity here in Nigeria, but is being priced in dollar in the international market benchmark. So we attended to the National Economic Council on the need to revisit that issue and the issue of dollarization of a local commodity here in Nigeria. On rice, we intend to cultivate 250,000 hectares, thereby supporting 500,000 farmers, and maize, 55,000 hectares, supporting 110,000 farmers, cassava, 35,000 hectares, supporting 70,000 farmers.
Some lawmakers have been reacting to the raid on Baruda change operators in Abuja, stating that it is not a solution to the exchange rate volatility. During the debate in the upper chamber, Senator Adams Oshomole maintains that the market has caused the crash of the naira.
The market over the past 6 months, even between when we prepared the budget and today, the market has destroyed the naira. And talking about EFCC going to arrest some bureau de change operators, we are actually practically operating a system now in which if it's those who are completely uninformed about monetary policies that buy and sell exchange rate under the tree that seems to be determining the real exchange rate. What the bank refers to as market means try to balance supply with demand. This is the policy that has crashed the naira.
The Senate has stepped down a bill for an act to make provisions for a harmonized retirement age for legislative officers of the National Assembly, exempting them from the application of the General Service Rule on retirement age. The bill of concurrence, sponsored by a leader of the Senate, Senator Okoyemi Bamidele, provides for the retirement age of legislative officers to be 65 years or 40 years of service.
I put a question. Those in support of the motion that were of the view that we step it down for further consultation, say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. Nay. The ayes have it.
A constitution amendment bill to introduce state police has scaled second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill, which is sponsored by 13 members of the House, enjoyed support from majority of lawmakers who believe that concerns of political victimization by state governors should take the back seat due to the current state of insecurity across the country. Meanwhile, the House has passed a resolution to investigate the exodus of multinational companies from Nigeria.
Collaborate with the private sector to develop policies that will stimulate economic growth and create job opportunities in the country. Prioritize investments in the infrastructure and power sectors. Provide tax incentives to encourage businesses and investors to invest in Nigeria.
This week in our FCT in Focus, we look at the closure of Sahad stores in Abuja by the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC. Continued violations involving misleading pricing and lack of transparency were cited as the reasons for its closure. The investigation revealed that Sahad stores displayed lower prices on shelves and charged higher prices at checkout, contravening Section 115 of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act, FCCPA 2018. Cashiers also charged prices at their discretion, leaving unsuspecting customers vulnerable to unfair pricing. Exercising its authority under Section 18F, the Commission temporarily sealed the premises. However, some arrangement was reached and the store was reopened. Please watch this. Officials of the Investigation and Enforcement Unit of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, at a supermarket in Garki 11 of the nation's capital.
This is the barcode. When you just scan it, the ID, the price. No, it's supposed to be supposed to display.
Is in front of the team swings into action, checking the prices of pastries on the shelves as they noticed varied prices on some items.
This whole shelf has 2 items, and that was what was the issue the other time. People were picking prices and the tills were not telling the appropriate one with the display. And as it is now, even you have 2 items, and there is no price. You have a price tag button. Why are you not putting your prices? Is this also 15,000?
That one. 18,000.
But how do you differentiate 18 and 15? One has 15, one does. There is no price. 18. You wrote 15,000.
The team moves to the higher floor to check for prices on machinery items. A directive is given for the staff to leave and facilities sealed. The leadership of the agency puts out a warning to businesses contributing to price gouging in the food chain sector to stop the practice.
The product brands are different and they come with different prices. But what the consumer sees is one price. And it's at the discretion of the tillman to identify which price of the product, because all the products in the till systems are linked kuli. So if he decides it's 700 kuli or 1,200 kuli, it's at his discretion and the display will show you kuli. So each brand item is supposed to be priced differently if it is different. And where you have a bunch, is either you price individually or you display the price on the group of identical items. You cannot mix items together and have a single price, and only when you get to the till, you get a different price. Now, the second one is that even for the same price, the same product, the same brand, the same item, there are different prices. We saw with the underwear, the same brand, one is 5,000 and the other price is 6,000. Imagine if you bought 10. That means you've been shortchanged by 10,000 naira. That brand, that pant underwear that we displayed. So this is what we're talking about in this end time that, of course, you had my boss. We want maximum value for your money. A consumer should not be shortchanged, and it's against the FCCPC that you display different prices for your goods.
What we have found out that these people are doing is misleading pricing and lack of transparency in their pricing, which is against Section 1153 of the law that says an undertaking shall not require a consumer to pay a price for any good or service higher than the one that is on display. So that's exactly what is happening here, and that's what we have proved to you. You have also seen it from your own perspectives. This is an obnoxious practice and amounts to a violation of the rights under the FCCPA. Section 155 states that any corporate person or that contravenes this is liable to a fine of 100 million naira or even more. And the directors of the company themselves are liable, upon conviction, payment of 10 million naira each, or imprisonment of 6 months, or both. So therefore, we found out that they were contravening this law and made sure that we came to show them that our mandate is very clear. We are to promote and protect consumers' interests. So therefore, what we have done today is to make sure that they comply with the law. We call them to come and defend themselves. They refused.
Price gouging, according to the Webster's Dictionary, is the action or practice of overcharging customers for something by sharply increasing its price, especially in order to take advantage of sudden high demand. Price gouging laws are a type of consumer protection that seeks to prevent businesses from charging excessive prices for basic necessities during a crisis or emergency, as is the case in Nigeria at the moment. While debates are ongoing as to whether the increase in the price of food commodities is a result of market forces following subsidy removal, or if Nigerians are facing arbitrary increased prices unrelated to government policies, the acting executive vice chairman of the FCCPC calls on consumers to stay watchful and report infractions.
They can lodge their complaints with us, and we give our assurances, since everybody knows by now that we don't only bark, we bite. We have the will, we have the capacity. So therefore, lodge your complaint, would make sure that we do you justice.
The very next day, business activities resumed at the supermarket. A visit by Channels Television to the supermarket revealed that business activities were gradually picking up after it was sealed the day before. A press statement by the Commission states that, quote, following a mutual understanding and commitment from Sahad stores to implement transparent pricing practices, the FCCPC has reopened the store on February the 16th, 2024 at about 7 p.m., end quote. The agency has promised to provide speedy redress to consumer complaints and end what they've described as unscrupulous exploitation. My guest on the program is the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Mr. Adamu Abdullahi. Apart from the details on this Sahad store's story, we have a lot to unpack when it comes to servicing consumers in Nigeria, from arbitrary billing by discos to indiscriminate price hike on food items. Please watch this. Dr. Abdullahi, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you very much, Megwa. It's a pleasure always.
How has it been? You know, I know it was abrupt, wasn't it, having to take over the reins of the FCCPC from Mr. Irukera after everything that happened. How has it been?
Luckily, we have been working together, as everybody is aware. I was Executive Commissioner of Operations, so therefore that's more or less the heartbeat. So when we found that we were headless, of course somebody had to step in. Nature abhors a vacuum. And the statement removing him was very clear that the most senior officer there should take over, which I did. Yes, it has not been easy. We miss him. We miss him dearly because of the fact that he is very grounded, especially in competition law, which we don't have. What I have really is consumer protection. But then, of course, as he stated in his own X message the same day he was removed, he left some foot soldiers behind, and we are working together to ensure that the right things are done. And as you can see, I don't think we have missed any step. We'll continue our rabble-rousing and we'll continue making sure the right things are done. It's not easy in a climate such as ours, but then our job is cut out for us and we have to do it. Somebody has to do it, so we have to do it.
Let's actually take a look at SAD stores. We've been able to find out what it was that caused the closure. How come it was opened so quickly, almost like the next day? There was some statement that said an arrangement had been reached. What kind of arrangement was reached?
Okay, you see, the way we work, we are not supposed to make business suffer for a violation. Yes, they have violated. They agreed that they have violated. They came on our summons now, and they refused earlier. That's why what happened. So when they realized their folly, they came and we looked at what it was that they were doing wrong, and agreed that you would make amends in A, B, C, D, which they now wrote a commitment that said we are ready to do that. And we told them that for the next 3 months, we'll have you under watch and we'll see what you do. And all this issue of different prices at the counter and then at the shelf rather, and then at the till must stop. And he agreed with that, they agreed with that yes, it is something that has been happening over time and they know that it is wrong, so they will do something about it. Our people are there right now. They go there from time to time to ensure that the right thing is done. And that's what we're after. We're not after killing anybody's business. All we want is for the right thing to be done. We don't want our actions to be punitive, so to speak. And punitive in the sense that you dislodge his market. It is not right. The fact that it was closed from 9 a.m. all the way to 7 p.m. the same day is already bad enough as it is. But we made sure that they came in memorandum of understanding with us, which our legal department and then their own lawyer signed, which is a commitment from their own side. And then they also wrote saying that they have committed. So therefore, I don't think there's anything that went behind the scenes to make sure that it happened. No. All we wanted was for the right thing to be done, and all the right thing is done.
And they're under watch for the next 3 months.
3 months, yes.
So people who go to SAD stores can still make complaints if you're going to SAD stores right now and you're noticing that the cost on the...
Sure, not only SAD stores, really.
Anywhere, if the till is saying something different from what you're seeing on the stand. Yeah.
Because what happened was we go on spot checks. So this is not really a complaint from people, but you yourself said you have observed that there is such a discrepancy. But we found this out ourselves. We do spot checks. So from time to time, we get groups of people, our own staff, to go to different supermarkets in Abuja, in fact, all over the country.
I mean, it's brought up the conversation about deceptive pricing.
Yeah.
And it's not just about stores now, even just generally for food commodities. We're seeing a phenomenon in Nigeria, and there is a conversation right now saying that these exorbitant prices that we're seeing for many goods in the market are not being driven by market forces.
Yes.
That this is actually people just arbitrarily pricing, gouging the price of things because of the issues. Is there a way your office can help this matter?
Generally, the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President has been trying to address that. There is a committee which he heads personally. And if Mr. President himself can come down and head committees, you know that it must be a very, very serious issue. The government has taken it very seriously, and we have formed our own committee at our own level in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment that we work with, and brought in Ministry of Agriculture, NMPC were there, and others. Looked at all what's happening in the market, trying to see how we can make amends. Issue is most of these people that operate in the markets have formed themselves into small cartels. And that's against the law. So we are looking at
They're
that.
not allowed to have
cartels. This association that says National Association of Nigerian Barbers has fixed a price. Whenever you have a haircut, this is how much you're going to pay. No, it's not done like that. All barber shops are supposed to have their own prices.
Let's say it's National Association of Catfish Sellers.
Catfish sellers, yes, it's wrong.
They're not allowed to...
Yam sellers, wrong.
They're not allowed to even have the group.
No, they can have the group, but they're not supposed to discuss prices.
Oh, they're not supposed to discuss prices.
Pricing is something that should be determined by the market. So if you fed your fish on something else when you were winning them, you're not supposed to cost the same thing as somebody that fed them on another item altogether. And from place to place, of course, the cost of production may be different. So therefore, the cost price in the market cannot be the same.
Does your office favor some kind of price fixing? We're seeing people calling for fixing
people are calling for
from government. I've heard people from back in the day saying it never works. It actually made things worse.
And we cannot preach price fixing, not in a deregulated economy such as ours. We allow things to take their normal course. But when you now have people playing pranks along the way, trying to get prices or fix prices themselves, then government has to come in. But come in not in giving ceilings to what prices should be or deciding what the prices of items should be. No. On reducing all the bottlenecks that are on the way towards getting these items to the market, and towards also looking at the cartels that have formed themselves into the market and destroying them so that there will be a fair playground. People can have good prices for the goods that they manufacture or farm and things like that.
Your office recently started talking about the arbitrary metering, arbitrary billing rather, of unmetered customers. I see you were supporting NERC against the discos.
Yeah.
Talk to us a bit about that as we wrap up.
Right now, I have a team in Bauchi who are working with the Just Electricity Disco, addressing complaints from consumers. And that's what we have been doing throughout the year, going from one disco to the other. This is with support from the MacArthur Foundation. And what we do is go stay in that place for the whole 5 days and do complaint desks. So that whoever has an issue would come. We have NERC there, we have NEMSA there, the mentoring company, ourselves, and then the discos. Whatever complaint you have, you bring, we make sure it is resolved there and then. But then we worked first and foremost with the NERC on developing a capping system for this metering for this estimated billing of the houses, and agreed that 1 bedroom should cost this, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms. So therefore, we now have a matrix on which we now based that capping. So whenever we find any disco violating that, of course, we work together with NEC to make sure that the right thing is done. And that's how we have been going about it.
I want to thank you very much, Dr. Abdullahi, for being with us on Dateline Abuja. I know we need more time. We need more time because there's a lot to talk about. I know there's a lot of cases that you're handling right now. But I want to thank you for making out the time to be with us on Dateline Abuja. And good luck with all the work that you do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Nagwa. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thanks to my guests and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Join the conversation on channelstv.com, and please remember to let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing right now on your screens. Thank you so much for watching. I am Kayla Magwa. See you next time.